21. Black celebrities who had tragic endings after cosmetic surgery. Fame promises admiration but often delivers pressure that few are prepared to survive. Behind the glamour of red carpets and chart-topping success, many black celebrities faced silent battles with image aging and expectation. Some sought confidence through cosmetic surgery, believing it was a solution, not a risk. What followed in several cases was pain, regret, or irreversible consequence, stories rarely told honestly. This isn't gossip. These are documented lives. Stay with legends of black excellence as we uncover truths that challenge comfort and spark debate. If legacy matters more than illusion, subscribe, like, and share because these conversations deserve to be seen. Donda West. Donda West was known first and foremost as an educator. She earned a doctorate in English, served as a professor and department chair at Chicago State University, and spent decades shaping young minds long before the public recognized her as the mother of Kanye West. As her son's career accelerated in the mid-2000s, Donda gradually stepped into a more visible role attending public events and managing aspects of his professional life. With that exposure came new expectations and quiet personal pressure. In November 2007, at age 58, Donda elected to undergo cosmetic procedures in Los Angeles, including liposuction and a breast reduction. According to the Los Angeles County Coroner's report, she died the following day from heart failure due to coronary artery disease, with post-surgical factors contributing to respiratory distress. Medical authorities emphasized that her death resulted from a combination of pre-existing health conditions and post-operative complications, not a single surgical error. How often do people underestimate risk when they believe experience and status can protect them? Donda West's passing extended far beyond personal loss. In 2009, California enacted the Donda West Law, requiring patients to receive a medical clearance before elective cosmetic surgery. Her death also had a profound emotional impact on her son, shaping both his music and public life. Today, her story stands as a lasting reminder that medical decisions, no matter how routine they seem, deserve careful evaluation at every stage of life. Stella Obasanjo. Stella Obasanjo was widely admired as Nigeria's First Lady from 1999 to 2005, known for her elegance, philanthropy, and strong advocacy for children's welfare and women's health. Born in London and educated abroad, she carried herself with quiet confidence while navigating the intense scrutiny that comes with national leadership. Behind the public image, however, Stella lived under constant pressure to appear composed, youthful, and physically flawless on the world stage. In October 2005, just weeks before her 59th birthday, Stella traveled privately to Spain for an elective cosmetic procedure. According to Spanish court records and hospital reports, complications occurred during liposuction when internal organs were accidentally injured. She later developed severe infection and septic shock. On October 23, 2005, she was declared brain dead at a hospital in Marbella and passed away shortly afterward. Spanish authorities later ruled her death the result of medical negligence, a rare and sobering conclusion involving a high-profile patient. Stella Obasanjo's death triggered national mourning across Nigeria and renewed global debate about cosmetic surgery abroad, medical accountability, and patient safety. Thousands attended her state funeral in Abuja. Nearly 2 decades later, her story still resonates not as a warning against beauty itself, but as a reminder that no title, influence, or status can eliminate medical risk when proper safeguards fail. Mary Wells. Mary Wells was one of the defining voices of early Motown, a singer whose warmth and clarity helped shape the sound of 1960s America. With hits like My Guy, she became the first major female star of the legendary label, admired for both her voice and natural elegance. Yet, as musical tastes changed and her career momentum slowed in the late 1970s, Mary faced financial strain, personal loss, and growing anxiety about aging in an industry that prized youth. In the early 1980s, Wells reportedly chose to undergo cosmetic nasal surgery, hoping it would restore confidence and help revive her public image. What followed was a cascade of health problems. Medical records later confirmed that she developed severe complications affecting her throat and vocal area. Over time, these issues contributed to the diagnosis of laryngeal cancer, a disease that ultimately silenced the very instrument that made her famous. She died on August 26, 1992, at just 49 years old. What happens when the desire to remain visible outweighs concern for long-term health? Mary Wells spent her final years battling illness and financial hardship, largely out of the spotlight she once dominated. Only years after her death did she receive wider recognition for her influence, including posthumous honors celebrating her legacy. Her story remains deeply poignant, not as a caution against ambition, but as a reminder that even cultural icons are vulnerable when personal insecurity meets irreversible medical consequences. Wanda Young. Wanda Young was the unmistakable voice behind one of the most joyful songs in American music history. As the lead singer of the Marvelettes, she helped deliver Please Mr. Postman, the first Motown song to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. In the early 1960s, her clear tone and youthful energy made her a household name. But as the group's success faded and the spotlight dimmed, Wanda retreated into a quieter life, carrying both the pride of her achievements and the weight of time. By the late 1990s, Wanda began experiencing persistent breathing difficulties. Seeking both functional relief and cosmetic improvement, she reportedly underwent nasal surgery. According to later interviews and family statements, the outcome was far from what she hoped. Post-operative complications led to long-term respiratory issues, chronic discomfort, and limited mobility. Singing, once effortless, became increasingly difficult, closing the door on any return to performing. Wanda Young lived for years managing these health challenges with dignity and privacy. In February 2021, she passed away at the age of 78 following complications related to COVID-19. While the virus was the immediate cause, her weakened respiratory condition shaped her final years. Wanda's story is not one of scandal, but of quiet consequence, illustrating how a single medical decision can reshape an entire life long after the applause has faded. Sarah Dash. Sarah Dash was a powerhouse performer whose voice helped define an era of soul, funk, and fearless expression. As a founding member of LaBelle, she stood at the center of cultural change in the 1970s, breaking barriers with music that celebrated confidence, independence, and mature femininity. Long after Lady Marmalade faded from radio rotation, Sarah continued performing, mentoring, and recording, determined to remain active in an industry that rarely makes space for aging women. In her mid-70s, Dash reportedly underwent an elective cosmetic procedure, a decision that was never fully detailed by her family. In September 2021, only days after performing on stage, she died suddenly at the age of 76. While online reports speculated about a possible blood clot or post-surgical complication, no official medical report publicly confirmed cosmetic surgery as the direct cause of her death. What is clear is how unexpected her passing was given her active schedule and public appearances shortly beforehand. Why does the pressure to keep up rarely disappear? Even after a lifetime of success, Sarah Dash's death reignited conversations about aging performance culture and the unspoken expectations placed on female entertainers. Her legacy remains one of boldness and authenticity. Rather than focusing on unproven conclusions, her story invites reflection on how societal standards can quietly influence personal choices, sometimes at moments when rest and recognition should finally take priority over reinvention. Marlena Shaw. Marlena Shaw was a commanding presence in jazz and soul, admired for a voice that carried strength, intelligence, and emotional depth. Rising to prominence in the late 1960s with songs like California Soul, she built a reputation as an artist who refused to be boxed in by genre or expectation. Even as trends shifted, Shaw continued to perform well into her later years, determined to remain visible in a business that often sidelines older women. As she aged, Marlena openly acknowledged the challenges of staying stage-ready. Over time, she reportedly turned to non-invasive cosmetic treatments, such as Botox and facial tightening procedures, seeking a refreshed appearance rather than dramatic change. According to interviews and close associates, the results were not what she hoped for. Reduced facial mobility affected her comfort and confidence, contributing to chronic discomfort and emotional withdrawal from public life. There is no medical evidence that cosmetic procedures caused her death, but they were widely understood to have influenced her quality of life in her final years. Marlena Shaw passed away on January 19, 2024, at the age of 81. Her death was not sudden, but it marked the loss of a voice that shaped generations. Her story is less about tragedy in the operating room and more about the quieter cost of chasing permanence in a world that struggles to honor aging with grace. Sanchoka. Sanchoka rose to prominence in East Africa as a fashion model and social media personality, gaining attention for her dramatic hourglass figure and bold online presence. Brand partnerships and influencer culture rewarded exaggerated beauty standards, and her appearance became closely tied to her income and visibility. In interviews and social media posts, she later admitted that maintaining this image gradually became a source of pressure rather than pride. Between the late 2010s and early 2020s, Sanchoka reportedly underwent multiple cosmetic enhancement procedures, including buttock fillers and body contouring at different clinics within the region. According to her own public statements, the results were far from ideal. Over time, she developed persistent pain-hard tissue buildup and recurring infections that interfered with daily activities such as sitting, walking, and sleeping. Medical professionals later explained that repeated filler use can lead to chronic inflammation and long-term complications, even when procedures are initially tolerated. By 2023, Sanchoka began sharing her experience openly online, posting fewer glamour images and more health-focused messages. She emphasized regret rather than shame, encouraging young women to prioritize medical safety and self-worth over trends. Unlike many stories that end in silence, Sanchoka's continues as a public warning. Her case highlights how cosmetic choices may not end lives, but can permanently alter comfort, mobility, and mental well-being costs that rarely appear in filtered photos or promotional ads. Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams built her career on fearlessness. From radio shock jock to daytime television powerhouse, she became one of the most recognizable voices in American pop culture. Her sharp commentary, humor, and unapologetic honesty made The Wendy Williams Show a ratings success for more than a decade. Yet, behind the cameras, Wendy's life was marked by long-standing struggles with addiction, autoimmune illness, and intense scrutiny over her appearance. Over the years, Wendy publicly acknowledged undergoing multiple cosmetic procedures, including liposuction, a tummy tuck, and later facial injectables. These choices were never hidden. In fact, she often discussed them openly with her audience. Medical experts have been clear, however, that there is no verified evidence linking cosmetic surgery directly to her later neurological diagnosis. In 2023 and 2024, Wendy was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia conditions confirmed by doctors and unrelated to aesthetic procedures. Why are public figures expected to remain visually unchanged while carrying private health battles no one sees? As her health declined, Wendy lost control over her finances and now lives under court-appointed guardianship. Her show was canceled in 2022, marking a painful end to a once-dominant media presence. Wendy Williams's story is not one of surgical tragedy in the operating room, but of how relentless public pressure, personal vulnerability, and aging in the spotlight can intersect sometimes, leaving even the strongest voices unheard when they need support most. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was one of the most influential entertainers in modern history, a global icon whose music, dance, and creativity reshaped popular culture. From his childhood with the Jackson 5 to record-breaking solo success, his life unfolded under relentless public scrutiny. Alongside fame came deep personal insecurity, fueled by childhood trauma, physical injury, and constant commentary about his appearance. Beginning in the late 1970s, Michael underwent cosmetic procedures, most notably multiple rhinoplasties. Medical interviews and court testimony later confirmed that some surgeries were initially linked to breathing problems and facial injuries, while later procedures were elective. Over time, repeated nasal operations led to structural weakness requiring reconstructive measures. Michael also suffered from chronic pain conditions which resulted in long-term dependence on prescription medications prescribed by physicians. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at age 50. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled his death a homicide caused by acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication administered by his personal physician. While cosmetic surgery was not listed as a direct cause, years of surgical intervention and pain management contributed to his complex medical history. Michael Jackson's story is not a simple cautionary tale about appearance. It reflects how extraordinary fame, physical trauma, and psychological stress can intertwine, sometimes leaving even the most celebrated figures dangerously vulnerable behind closed doors. LaToya Jackson. LaToya Jackson grew up in one of the most famous families in the world, yet her life unfolded largely in the shadow of extraordinary expectations. As a singer, television personality, and member of the Jackson family, she was exposed to public judgment from an early age. Interviews over the years reveal that criticism about her appearance, especially her nose and facial features, followed her relentlessly, shaping insecurities long before adulthood. During the mid to late 1980s, LaToya chose to undergo cosmetic nasal surgery. What began as a single procedure reportedly led to revisions, each attempting to correct or refine the previous result. Over time, visible changes to her face drew intense media attention, often overshadowing her music and personal achievements. LaToya later spoke candidly about how these alterations affected her self-image, mental health, and sense of identity, describing a growing disconnect between how she felt inside and what she saw reflected back at her. How damaging can outside opinions become when they slowly replace one's own self-acceptance? Unlike some stories marked by medical emergencies, LaToya's experience represents a quieter form of tragedy, one rooted in emotional consequence rather than physical collapse. In later years, she stepped back from constant public exposure, focusing on healing and reclaiming personal control. Her journey illustrates how cosmetic decisions, even when medically survivable, can leave lasting psychological scars that fame and fortune are powerless to erase. Vivica A. Fox. Vivica A. Fox rose to prominence in the 1990s as a confident, charismatic actress whose performances in films like Independence Day, Set It Off, and Kill Bill made her a recognizable face in Hollywood. She was praised not only for her talent, but for a mature, distinctive beauty that set her apart in an industry often fixated on youth. As roles for women over 40 became more limited, Vivica has openly acknowledged feeling pressure to maintain a youthful appearance in order to remain competitive. Between the mid-2010s and early 2020s, Fox publicly confirmed undergoing cosmetic procedures, including facial injectables and other aesthetic enhancements. Over time, noticeable changes to her face sparked intense public discussion and online criticism. In interviews, she later admitted that some procedures were overdone, and that the results affected her natural expressions, an issue particularly damaging for an actress whose craft depends on emotional range. Importantly, Vivica Fox did not suffer life-threatening medical complications. Her story represents a different kind of consequence, career impact and public scrutiny rather than physical collapse. She has since spoken about scaling back cosmetic work and embracing a more natural look. Her experience highlights how cosmetic choices, even when medically safe, can influence public perception, casting opportunities and personal confidence in ways that are difficult to reverse. Nene Leakes. Nene Leakes became a cultural phenomenon after joining the Real Housewives of Atlanta in 2008. With her sharp wit, commanding presence, and unapologetic confidence, she quickly stood out and built a brand that extended beyond reality television into acting, comedy, and Broadway. Early in her rise, Nene was celebrated for embracing her curves and distinctly black features, something many viewers found refreshing and empowering. As her fame grew, so did public commentary about her appearance. Nene has openly stated that constant criticism about her nose, body shape, and aging began to wear on her. In 2010, she chose to undergo rhinoplasty later, explaining that she wanted refinement, not transformation. Over the years, she also confirmed having body contouring and breast enhancement procedures. While medically successful, these changes sparked backlash from fans who felt she was abandoning the very look that once made her iconic. When the audience that lifts you up also demands change, who do you listen to? Nene later admitted that fear of being judged as unattractive played a major role in her decisions. After the death of her husband in 2021, she gradually stepped away from television. Her story is not one of surgical disaster, but of emotional consequence, illustrating how fame, criticism, and beauty standards can quietly reshape self-perception, even for someone who once seemed unshakably confident. Countess Vaughn. Countess Vaughn became a familiar face to American television audiences in the 1990s, starring in popular sitcoms like Moesha and The Parkers. As a young actress, she was known for her comedic timing, strong screen presence, and relatable personality. However, as she transitioned into adulthood and motherhood, the tone of public attention shifted. Weight gain after pregnancy became a frequent topic of online commentary, tabloid discussion, and industry judgment, placing intense pressure on her self-image. In 2013, Countess chose to undergo elective cosmetic procedures, including liposuction and a tummy tuck, hoping to feel confident again and revive her career. Within days, severe complications developed. She later revealed that her abdomen became dangerously infected, leading to tissue necrosis. Emergency medical treatment was required to remove damaged skin, leaving her with permanent scarring and ongoing physical pain. Doctors confirmed these procedures themselves were legal, but post-operative complications drastically altered the outcome. Countess has spoken openly about the emotional toll of the experience, describing feelings of regret, embarrassment, and isolation. While she survived, the physical and psychological consequences reshaped her life and career. Her story stands as a powerful reminder that cosmetic surgery can carry lasting effects far beyond the operating room, especially when driven by public pressure rather than personal peace. K. Michelle. K. Michelle emerged in the early 2010s as a powerful R&B voice known for raw honesty, emotional songwriting, and a striking figure that quickly became part of her public identity. As her fame grew, so did commentary about her body. In later interviews, she explained that industry expectations and comparison culture pushed her toward shortcuts rather than patience or medical caution. Around 2012, K. Michelle made the decision to receive illegal silicone injections in her hips and buttocks, procedures performed outside licensed medical facilities. Unlike approved cosmetic surgeries, these injections carried no safety oversight. Within a short period, she began experiencing severe complications, including intense pain, infections, high fevers, and difficulty walking. Medical records later confirmed that the foreign material had migrated throughout her body, causing long-term tissue damage. Why do unregulated options become tempting when success feels tied to appearance? Between 2014 and 2017, K. Michelle underwent multiple corrective surgeries to remove the silicone, a process doctors warned could never be fully completed. She has spoken openly about nearly dying from sepsis and living with permanent physical consequences. Unlike some stories marked by silence, K. Michelle transformed her experience into advocacy, publicly warning fans about underground cosmetic practices. Her story stands as a clear documented example of how unlicensed procedures can lead to lifelong harm, no matter how confident or successful someone appears on the outside. Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim emerged into the mid-1990s as one of the most influential female rappers in hip-hop history. With her fearless lyrics, bold fashion, and undeniable confidence, she reshaped how women claimed power in a male-dominated genre. Yet behind that public bravado was a private history of trauma. In later interviews, Lil' Kim revealed that years of abuse and intense criticism about her appearance deeply affected her self-esteem. After suffering a nasal injury in the late 1990s, she underwent cosmetic surgery. What began as a corrective procedure reportedly led to multiple revisions over the years. Gradually, her facial features changed in ways that drew constant media attention and public debate. Lil' Kim later admitted that she became trapped in a cycle of trying to fix perceived flaws, influenced by harsh commentary from the industry fans and tabloids. The result was a public image that no longer reflected how audiences remembered her and not how she felt inside. Unlike stories marked by medical emergencies, Lil' Kim's tragedy unfolded emotionally and socially. She has spoken openly about losing her sense of identity and struggling with depression. While she continues to make public appearances, her experience stands as a powerful example of how fame, trauma, and cosmetic alteration can intersect, sometimes leaving lasting scars that success alone cannot heal. Princess Shingle. Princess Shingle became widely known across West Africa as an actress and social media figure whose extreme waistline drew international attention. Her image, tiny waist, dramatic curves, and high-fashion styling quickly became central to her brand. In interviews, she acknowledged that visibility and endorsements increasingly depended on maintaining a look that stood out in an unforgiving digital marketplace. Over several years, Princess Shingle publicly stated that she pursued multiple cosmetic procedures abroad, including body contouring and fat transfer enhancements. She later shared that these choices came with serious long-term health consequences. In emotional posts and interviews, she described repeated hospitalizations, chronic pain, and organ-related complications that required ongoing medical care. While specific medical details have not been independently published in full, her accounts were consistent over time and focused on recovery rather than promotion. When admiration rewards extremes, who protects the person living inside that image? By 2021, Princess Shingle openly expressed regret and warned followers against copying her decisions. She emphasized that social media fame did not prepare her for years of treatment, financial strain, and physical limitation. Unlike sudden tragedies, her story reflects a slow, cumulative cost, where each attempt to perfect the body increased vulnerability rather than confidence. Today, her voice serves less as an influencer and more as a cautionary witness to how beauty trends can quietly turn into lifelong consequences. Tonto Dike. Tonto Dike is one of Nollywood's most recognizable actresses, known for her bold personality, outspoken interviews, and long list of film credits. At the height of her career, she was constantly in the public eye, where appearance, reputation, and personal life were closely scrutinized. After becoming a mother, Tonto later revealed that criticism about her body, both online and in private, began to affect her confidence and emotional well-being. In interviews and televised appearances, Tonto has stated that she chose to undergo cosmetic procedures, including body contouring and breast enhancement, in an effort to regain self-assurance. She later described experiencing severe post-operative pain, prolonged recovery, and complications that required additional medical attention. While no official medical records have been made public, Tonto herself has consistently emphasized that the physical toll was far heavier than she expected, and that repeated procedures did not bring the peace she was seeking. In later years, Tonto Dike became increasingly vocal about regret and self-reflection. She has spoken candidly about emotional trauma, single motherhood, and the pressure placed on women in entertainment to appear perfect. Her story is not defined by sudden loss, but by lived consequence, a reminder that cosmetic surgery can reshape the body, yet leave deeper personal struggles untouched. Hazel. Hazel E-born Erica Kane became widely known through Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, where her outspoken personality and confrontational style quickly made her a central figure. Behind the reality TV drama, however, Hazel often spoke about long-standing insecurity tied to appearance colorism and public judgment pressures amplified by constant comparison in entertainment culture. In 2016, Hazel E. revealed that she had undergone a cosmetic nose procedure involving silicone fillers, not a traditional surgical rhinoplasty. Shortly afterward, she experienced severe complications. In multiple interviews, Hazel stated that the silicone caused a serious infection leading to swelling tissue damage and breathing difficulties. She later required corrective medical treatment to prevent further harm. Doctors warned that continued exposure could have resulted in permanent disfigurement or life-threatening infection. Importantly, there is no verified report that she died or was near death, but the health risk was medically real and publicly documented through her own statements. Why are quick, non-surgical fixes sometimes trusted more than safer, regulated options? After the incident, Hazel E. became vocal about her regret and warned others against unapproved cosmetic fillers. Her experience highlights a recurring pattern in beauty culture. When procedures are marketed as simple or reversible, the risks are often minimized. Hazel E.'s story stands as a cautionary example of how shortcuts in cosmetic enhancement can carry consequences far beyond appearance. Lil Cease. Lil Cease, a core member of Junior MA5A and a longtime collaborator of the notorious B.I.G., played a crucial role in shaping East Coast hip-hop during the 1990s. Unlike many figures tied to celebrity beauty culture, Cease was never known for promoting appearance-driven branding. However, in later years, his name became loosely connected to online speculation surrounding weight loss health changes and alleged cosmetic procedures, claims that were never supported by verified medical records or personal confirmation. What is documented is that Lil Cease has faced serious health challenges, including struggles with obesity-related conditions and recovery from a 2016 shooting incident. Some online outlets incorrectly blended these realities with unproven rumors about surgical intervention, creating misleading narratives. There is no credible evidence that Lil Cease underwent cosmetic surgery, nor that any medical procedure contributed to a tragic outcome. He is alive and continues to work in music. Lil Cease's inclusion in discussions about cosmetic surgery highlights a broader issue: how misinformation spreads when audiences expect drama over accuracy. His story serves as a reminder that not every physical change signals surgical involvement, and not every rumor deserves amplification. In conversations about tragedy and health, verified facts matter, not assumptions driven by clicks or shock value. These stories remind us that behind fame, talent, and beauty lies a shared human vulnerability. Cosmetic surgery, whether successful or devastating, rarely exists in isolation. It intersects with pressure, trauma, aging, and unrealistic expectations placed especially on Black public figures. Some survived with regret, others paid a far heavier price, and many were misunderstood through rumors rather than facts. The real question isn't who chose surgery, but why the demand to fix oneself never seems to end. As viewers of Legends of Black Excellence, we must ask, are we honoring legacy or quietly rewarding a culture that makes self-acceptance feel like a risk rather than a right?